A young couple have decided to live life on the road, but they couldn't have predicted that an evil entity was hunting them down. This is Passenger, and to be frank, it's a bland, generic movie that goes through all of the tired tropes, so buckle in, because we're not holding back. Welcome everyone to Screams After Midnight. My passenger for tonight is Tim.
Hashtag living that van life.
I'm Peter, by the way. I usually say my name first, but I got the passenger line in my head and I just had to say it. I was just that excited about it.
Of course.
This is a horror movie podcast. We get together to talk about a movie we watched. It's that simple. And this week we have yet another new release. They're really firing them at us at a consistent basis right now. And how do you follow up Obsession, one of the best horror movies of the last 10 years, genuinely new and exciting? You follow up with Passenger, which is from André Øvredal, if I'm saying his name right. And it's a movie about a ghost, a spirit, whatever you want to call it, who kind of attaches itself to people who are on a road trip. So that's why it's called Passenger. It's kind of like an extra ghost in the car kind of thing, or van in this case. But we will start spoiler free, as we always do. We'll give you a warning before we get into the spoilers, and if you're enjoying the show on YouTube, hit the like button. Helps us out a bunch if you do, and you can support the show and get bonus stuff over on Patreon, but I'll tell you more about that at the end of the episode. So let's not beat around the bush. Tim, what did you think of Passenger?
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, why mince words? This is a total piece of shit. I wasn't really excited going into this. I feel like there were some other people that were kind of like, I don't know, could be good, looks cool, and obviously, I hope for the best or whatever, but I don't know, I really didn't care for that trailer. I mean, I know we talked about before, and like I had mentioned, I did like that, they're just kind of doing one scene, I think that's a good idea for the trailer, but then just the generic jump scare thing at the end just really did not make me excited for this. And and pretty much what I thought the movie would be was panned out. Although I guess I should say I had no idea that so much of this was going to be about van subculture, which I mean, no offense to people that want to live in their vans. I that's fine. I was just generally surprised that so much of the movie seemed to be about that, and it'd be one thing if it's just the premise is that this couple wants to live out of their van, sure, whatever. But just the idea that they're referencing van YouTubers and going to van conventions, I was like, Jesus, it feels like the writer watched some random documentary about people that live in their vans and was like, oh, this would be a great setting for a movie. But no, I just did not connect with this at all. I mean, the horror aspects I think are extremely poorly done, and this, and I'm I don't know if I can say I'm genuinely a fan of the director, but I really liked The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I'm not sure if that was his first movie or if that was just kind of what put him on the map. I mean, we talked about it before. I know we're a bit more mixed on it, but I genuinely liked it. And
it wasn't his first, because his first movie, well, I don't know if it was his first movie, but I'd seen that movie before that. He did Troll Hunter in his native language. Okay,
and I wouldn't say that that's amazing, but I like that enough.
Yes,
it's
but,
okay.
Yeah, but what about Last Voyage of the Demeter, Tim?
Yeah, that was a letdown. I forgot that. Yeah, he did that. I mean, it's unfortunate. I would say there was a time when this was a director that I would be pretty excited for what he's doing, and at least with those last two movies, I can't say I would be bursting at the seams when I hear he's doing something next. But I mean, this is surprisingly bad. I didn't think it would be good, but I was kind of shocked at how bad it was. I mean, the horror elements are pretty bad. They're all very generic jump scare bullshit. There's some pretty bad CGI in it. And then I think there could be a case where this could be a fun bad movie, but I think like a big problem is that the two main characters are just like a total like charisma suck, you know. Like there's just like I just found nothing appealing about them at all. I don't think you could really come away with.
They're pretty bland. This is the minus of minus, you know, like compliments I could give them, is that partway through the movie I did think to myself, well, they're better than the couple from The Strangers chapters 1 and 2. That did pop out of my head. So they're not the worst main characters.
That's fair.
We've seen.
I'll agree with that. That's fair. But I just feel like coming away from the movie, I know absolutely nothing about them. Like they're just so generic, lovey-dovey couple that it's like, you know, I know that they love each other, and I know that the husband is like obsessed with living in a van for some reason.
I was going to say, I know more about his van obsession than I do like almost any character's interest ever in any movie.
Yeah. But like other than that though, like I have no idea like, you know, what their personalities are like, what their you know, past is like. It is funny, they do have like a very minor talk about like, I guess, their childhoods, which kind of like is a very vague explanation for why he's so obsessed with living in his van, but it's like so like dumb that it did make me laugh. But yeah, I mean, I think they're super boring, and yeah, I didn't think the movie looked good or sound good. It's just surprisingly bad. Maybe a very minor compliment I'll give it is that there's one set piece that I thought set something up that was like, oh, this could genuinely be kind of new and inspired, but didn't really go anywhere. I'm kind of talking about when they're like camping in the woods watching a movie, that they kind of do something that I'm like, okay, this could be a cool setup, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But I think that's like the most I was ever, I guess, engaged in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, you did that. Sometimes at the time I feel like you forget we're going to be talking for at least an hour, and you front load
Sorry.
all your complaints, especially when you're mad about the movie.
I just want to get it out there and kind of coast for the rest of the episode.
Sure. Like so the first
Also,
yeah, there you go. Yes.
Oh, no, I just yeah, and I also didn't realize how much that I was going to hear the phrase "the hobo code" in this movie too. That was another kind of surprise.
It does come up.
I'm not against, but again, I was just like, okay, this is like, again, it feels like the writer watched a documentary about like turn of the century hobos and their code and was like, oh, I really got to fit this in.
So I thought the first teaser trailer
Loved
was
it. Jesus.
Tim's in one of these moods tonight, I can tell. So the first teaser trailer I thought was alright, right? I didn't think it was a bad trailer. Generic jump scare at the end aside, I liked kind of at least the overall idea of it, right? The core premise was perfectly fine for a teaser trailer. I saw a full trailer though, like a few weeks after that, and that looked really bad, because that was the one where it was like, here's the main characters, here's like, you know, the quick cuts of all the tropes that you're going to see, and I'm like, oh, this is just any ghost supernatural movie that we've had in the last 15 years. It just happens to be on the road instead of in a house, and that's all it is. Down to the fact, and I almost burst out laughing audibly when the research scene started, and she's looking up stuff on the computer, and she's looking at symbols and reading things, and there's a character who knows a lot about what's going on, and, you know, just all that generic stuff. And that's the big thing, you know. And I started this by saying, how do you follow up Obsession? Like, this was going to suck no matter what, but coming a week after a genuinely new, exciting, fresh horror movie, only to go into this one and have it do every trope from every crap horror movie from the last decade or two, and not even just every trope, but do, like, the jump scares are basically, you know, like, oh god, how long ago was this? But it was like the 2000s when, like, you'd make people watch a video where like a loud noise would happen when a face pops up in the camera. That's literally the jump scares in this movie. It's, oh, the creepy guy's right in your face, loud noise, and that's it. And it might make you jolt. I think I jolted once, but not because I was scared, just because they hit me with a loud noise. It was a physical reaction to something that has no meaning.
I will say there was a woman in the theater who, I don't know if she was intoxicated or playing it up, but she was screaming at the jump scares as if like, you know, the Grim Reaper itself was like coming out of the screen and like, you know, grabbing her or something. Like she was like, oh, like it seems like this is the most terrifying movie of all time for her, which if that's the case, I feel very sorry for that person.
I did just rewatch Last Action Hero a couple of weeks ago. Mentioned the Grim Reaper coming out of the screen.
Oh, okay.
Have you not seen Last Action Hero?
Yeah, but it's been a long time. That's the Arnold one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where,
but there's a part where the Grim Reaper from Seven Seal comes out of the cinema screen and starts walking around.
Oh, specifically from
Seven Seal, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, you know, that's neat. But it's played by Ian McKellen. They got some real gravitas into play death.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah. But it's so generic and tired. It's so pathetic. One of the review blurbs I saw for this said that this being sandwiched between Obsession and Backrooms. Now, Backrooms could still be disappointing. We don't know yet. Sure. I mean, I'm hopeful. It looks good, but we'll see. But the review blurb was like, oh, it's kind of like some, you know, 45-year-old showing up to a college party and all these young people have got all these new exciting ideas and this old guy shows up with like things from 20 years ago and trying to act cool. And I was like, oh, so you're saying how do you do, fellow kids? He's right. Pulling the Steve Buscemi. No shade on Buscemi, he was just doing a bit, but you know,
of course, yeah.
But that's how it feels. It feels so tired. Mm-hmm. It feels so crappy, generic. It goes through every trope. The characters are bland. They're not the worst ever. Like, there's definitely been worse. I mean, Strangers Chapter 1 was the one that popped out of my head, but there's definitely been worse. They're just aggressively not interesting, is the way I would describe the characters.
I like that, yeah. Yeah, because, like, I can't necessarily say, like, anything they did really annoyed me. Well, I mean, I guess there's, like, a few things I'd talk about, but, like, the characters themselves don't anger me, but yeah, it is like frustratingly bland in a way that I guess that kind of annoys me, but like the characters themselves aren't actively doing something, you know. It's just so like it's just nothing. You know?
Yeah, it's just nothing. There's also like, I mean, there's kind of rules for some stuff, but the rules that we get are more about just like how it attaches to them, so we'll talk about that in spoilers. But there's not really any rules to what can the evil presence do, and it seems to just make up things, you know, as it goes along, where it's like, okay, so does it have to get to you? Oh no, now it can telekinetically just move things or attack you with its mind, or and like, why wasn't it just doing that earlier? Like, it just, there's no sense of logic. And it's the same crap that I always hate about bad supernatural movies. It's always just, there's nothing to go on that makes any sense. It can just do anything at any time for whatever crappy jump scare they've conjured up in their heads for that particular scene.
You legitimately learn nothing about what the passenger is, which, you know, I'm not saying that I want, you know, an explanation for every little detail about the character and the lore. Like, you know, sometimes it is better to, you know, like not really explain things or whatever. But this, again, it feels like there's just no effort put into at least getting maybe something, you know, like I legitimately can't tell you anything about it. I don't know if it's a ghost or a demon. I really don't know if there's a more specific purpose to what it does other than just to kind of mess with you. For probably the first third of the movie or so, I was like, okay, so this is like, you know, just kind of like a creepy old lady. And then at some point they start referring to it as him and talking about like, oh, he does this and that. It's like, oh, I guess it's a guy. Not that it like matters. I was like kind of funny that I was like, oh, like that's weird. And then I think by the end, it also looked like he was wearing like a collar on his shirt. So I'm like, is he a priest too? Like, it's like all this weird things that it's like, I just feel like we're really not learning anything about this thing.
No, it's just so tired. You know, I'm watching this and like 20 minutes and I'm like, oh god, I never checked the runtime. How long is this movie? I hope it's not long. And it was only like maybe 100 minutes at most, but it's still, by the time I got to the end, I was like desperate to get out of there. I was like, no, let me out. I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this bad movie. This is like the universe is like, oh no, you had too much of a good time last week. So we have to punish you with like everything you hate about like crap horror movies this week. And that's what this is. Cannot be recommended in any way, shape, or form, sadly.
It's extremely surprising that this was not like a January dump. Like this feels like the kind of thing they just would have threw at the start of the year. But I surprisingly actually thought we got a couple of pretty good movies in January this year. So I don't know, maybe things are being flip flopped or whatever. But yeah, I don't know who. I could be wrong. Was this a Paramount movie?
That sounds possibly right. Hold on.
Yeah.
Paramount, was it? Where does it say that on IMDb? I can't remember. But I think I remember seeing a Paramount logo. Yeah.
But I mean, that would check out because that seems like a pretty dumb company. And releasing this amid like some really cool, interesting, fresh horror movies. Because even if you didn't dump it in January, like, I don't know, like, I'm sure you probably could have found some time around like March or even maybe next month in June or something that's like less packed or whatever. But yeah, like sandwiching this, because even before Obsession, we had Hokum, which I don't know if it really lit the world on fire, but we really like that. And
yeah, it wasn't like a huge financial success the way Obsession is starting to shape up to be with its legs. But yeah, I mean, if Backrooms hits, then that's 3 good horror movies in May, right? Start, middle, and end of the month, which is actually very, very like good going.
Yeah.
And then Passengers just there. It's just this dud.
I also I guess it's not really the movie's fault, but I keep always wanting to call it The Passenger or Passengers, but it always sounds weird when I just say Passenger.
I mean, they actually refer to him as the passenger in the movie, so I wouldn't blame you for your mind going there. Passengers, though, is a Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence movie. It's a sci-fi romance, and I better do air quotes when I say romance.
Yeah. A pretty good movie that had like no controversy about it from what I can remember.
Well, do you know what? The sad thing is that I'm actually not sure what's worse, Passenger or Passengers, and that's a damning statement for this movie.
It would be a funny double feature just to see like on the movie marquee, like Passenger, and then it's like, oh, did they do a sequel? No, just 2 very bad movies back to back.
Yeah, Passenger, starring a guy who you don't remember from Expendables 4, because I didn't remember him. I just clicked on him and there he was.
Okay.
And then the lady is Llobell, who I don't recognize from anything.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Tyler and Maddie are our 2 main characters. And Tyler, for some reason, is all about that van life. He wants to just live out of his van. And he's set it all up. Now, most people they see on like the meetups most of them have like camper style vans and stuff, and RVs. No, he's just converted like a van into like a living space for him and his girlfriend. And the girlfriend clearly after a few weeks of it is like, maybe not forever. Like, this is a fun little adventure, but maybe back to like a permanent residence after a little while, please.
I mean, again, the movie like really doesn't give you much insight into anything, so I kind of assumed that they were like, like I'm not sure where they start. I think it was like New York or something, but I assumed they were like it starts off with them selling, their apartment, or I guess you wouldn't sell it, but just like moving out of their apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured like, okay, we're packing up, we're putting everything in our van, then we're gonna drive cross country to land at this new destination where we're going to start our new life or whatever. But yeah, at some point in the movie you kind of realize like, oh no, he wants to do this forever, which is very strange to me, especially at one point where he brings up like, oh, my boss called and said like they're offering me my old job or whatever, and I can work remotely. I was like, oh, did you not have like any plan for like income at some point?
Yeah, because
like vans run on gas, and
after the opening, setup of the movie, like when they start their journey, it skips ahead like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, some of that. And like I was thinking, well, how much money did you 2 have saved up? Because like you still have to eat for one, but also the fuel is maybe that's cheaper than. Is it cheaper than rent? Probably not. Really, I mean, it depends how often. I mean, if you're parked a lot of the time, maybe not. But
yeah, I guess it depends on how much you're driving and where you're driving. I mean, here in California, gas is incredibly expensive. Certainly the most expensive I've ever seen it in my lifetime, which is not great. But I can't imagine if you're driving around all the time that it's going to be, that affordable.
Yeah, because we never see them do anything that would constitute as earning money, and as soon as they go on this trip. So, which is also why you might assume, oh, this is like something they've planned for, that they're, oh, we're going to do this for 3 months and we've saved up, and that's whatever. But like, no, he seems to like to think he's going to be able to do this forever, which. Sure, and is shocked that she's not necessarily in love with that idea, and because very few people would be into that idea. There's a lot of reasons why most people don't want to live in a vehicle as a permanent thing.
Yeah, even like you said, like if they had an RV kind of camper thing like the other people do, that's a bit more reasonable. Like I actually have relatives that like kind of live in things like similar to that, but it's like they have like a specific plot of land where they're located, like so it's not like just like a small van that you're driving like all over the country. Yeah.
Nothing about this made it appealing, and that's aside from the horror stuff. Yeah. It did not seem appealing just on its own, first of all. So, I mean, as far as anything else goes, before we get to spoilers, the jump scares are terrible. They are the most like lame, like 2000s, just loud screaming face in the camera type bullshit. There's no artistry to it whatsoever. It's really, honestly, it felt quite sad and embarrassing watching this movie.
Yeah, totally. Actually, I don't even know the last time I did this, but this was one of 3 trips to the movie theaters this weekend. And this was easily the worst.
What else were you seeing? A new Star Wars, I guess?
Yeah, I saw the Mando and Grogu. Of course, I gotta support my boy Grogu. So I saw that, and then the new Boots Riley movie, I Love Boosters, which was pretty good. Not perfect, but I liked it.
Okay, curious. I will say as well, I actually don't hate the premise of the movie, bizarrely. Like, obviously every choice they make is bad, but like just the idea that like you're on the road and there's some kind of presence like stalking you no matter where you go. Mm-hmm. There's something there. This movie doesn't do anything good with it, but there's something there.
Yeah, I think at one point I was like not hopeful, but there's a scene where they're in like kind of like a dark parking lot, and I guess like I was like, okay, well at the very least we're getting some different locations than we would normally get. Like a lot of the generic bullshit, like supernatural horror movies, a lot of it is mostly just like at the house and in the bedroom or the basement or whatever. It's it's usually confined into like indoor locations at the very least. So the idea of like seeing stuff like on the open road, and then in just places like parking lots and stuff, which is, or like just neighborhood streets, I guess. Like I was like, okay, these are locations that we don't always see all the time in this kind of movie, but again, it doesn't really do anything interesting with them.
No, not at all. And then the other trope that it also does, which is also, I mean, I've not seen it too recently, but I'm so sick of it, is the female character sees some spooky stuff, is getting scared, but the guy never sees it. So we have to do the, like, I believe you, but like, I don't know. Like, we have to do a little bit of that. It isn't like gaslight or anything like some characters do, but it's still like we have to go through the process of her looking like she's more hysterical because she's seen something freaky and he's not.
Yeah, there's also like a lot of scenes or instances that always annoys me in these type of movies where someone sees something scary and they like aren't just constantly like talking to people about it, or like if I see some of these things, I am telling everyone I know. I'm not like, oh, should I tell my partner, or are they gonna think I'm crazy or whatever, or like when they meet like the lady at the convention that kind of seems like she knows a little bit about it, but she just kind of gives a vague warning instead of being like, oh no, if you know something, like, let these people know right now, instead of just being like, be careful, follow the rules of the road that all us van people know. Like, that kind of stuff just always frustrates me. It's like, no, if you see something weird, like, talk about it,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And shout out to Green Lantern Jessica Cruz, who played a diner customer in this movie.
Oh, okay. Is she going to be in the new show? Or?
No, it's just an actress whose name's Jessica Cruz, and I thought that was amusing.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Nothing to do with actual Green Lantern Jessica Cruz, just for the record.
Okay, gotcha.
No, I just saw the name at the bottom of the list and went, oh, that's funny. Yeah, I guess we'll do spoilers. Let's get into it. No holding back now. You've been warned. Spoilers for Passenger. I want to talk about the not safe man a little bit, because this broke me during the research scene. So the only build up of lore you really get in this movie is we'll go through the events, but like when they get to the van meet, Melissa Leo pops up as kind of the old timer van person who's like, oh, you're new to this, aren't you, honey? Blah blah. It's like, oh, by the way, like, you never drive at night, never drive in quiet roads, and if you do have to drive at night, never ever stop. And it's like, okay, well, none of that's useful because all of that already happened. They're already attached to the demon or whatever it is. So all of these things are completely irrelevant now, but thanks for those rules after the fact.
Also, maybe it's different if, like, this is your life and you're living out of your, van or vehicle or whatever. But I've been on a lot of, like, road trips, and that's like all you do. It's like, yeah, of course you drive through night and, like, you stop and, like, take whatever roads you need to take. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, it's like, yeah, this is like pretty common stuff.
But she's looking like a poster board that's got a lot of missing persons on it, right? Another trope of bad horror movies is the missing persons board. They love to do that. But she, like, moves some of the flyers around, and she sees, like, a drawing. Now, there's already, like, 3 scratch marks on the van, and she noticed one on the other car that had already, like, the first victims, right? And she sees what's effectively a stick figure with these 3 scratches going through it, and just notices it, and it leaves it there, whatever. But later on, when we're doing the classic research montage, she's already done a little bit of looking in a book that she found in a store, but she does the research online. She's looking up all this stuff, and when she looks up this character, this symbol, it literally says, for the hobo code, the not safe man. And all I could think was, is this the bye-bye man's shitty cousin? Like, what is this? Now, they never actually say that out loud. They always just call him the passenger, and that's also something when they talk to Melissa Leo again later, she's like, we call him the passenger. or actually, I think she says that in her research, but I think Melissa Leo may say it as well later on.
Something like that, yeah.
We call him the passenger. I'm just like, oh my god. So we have the old timer who knows about this stuff, who speaks very cryptically about it. We've got the research scene, which, just sort of like establishes that this is a thing that seemingly everyone who does all this driving around all the time knows about and knows all these rules to keep themselves safe. Because later on, when they try to go looking for her for help, and she's at another sort of campsite with a bunch of other van people, like, as soon as they find out that they have been attached to this demon, she whistles and everyone starts moving, like, oh no, like, the passenger, mate, come here, we have to all leave so we don't get infected. It's almost like, in a different movie, I'd almost assume it was meant to be like a metaphor for, like, some kind of, like, virus or STD or something. I don't know, but, like, this idea that, like, oh, we all have to get out of there because they've brought the cooties in with them, and we have to get away. Anyway, so the opening of the movie is basically just the first teaser trailer, but just longer, just stretched out a bit more.
And I want to say that I really hated this scene. And in theory, I don't think the idea of the scene is bad. I kind of like that we're just, starting up with, like, these 2, unnamed characters. We're just kind of being thrown in the situation, blah, blah. But I just found them to be so annoying. 'Cause, like, the whole thing is this one character is drinking water, and that seems to enrage the driver. Like he's like the way he's like overreacting it was like so over the top for me that it's just like, why are you this mad? He's like don't you dare drink that much water, we're gonna have to stop and like pee, like, and I'm not stopping, blah blah blah. He's like so mad about it, and to me it's like, yeah, I mean, that's like the easiest thing in the world. If you have to stop, you just get out and pee on the side of the road. Again, that's like a pretty common road trip thing. And then like, when he does like finally stop, and he's like so furious, oh, I can't believe you're making me stop. And he's like, you got 2 minutes. And it's like, it shouldn't really take that long. Like, you just go on the side and like, you pee. And then for whatever reason, he like runs into the woods. I'm like, again, like just pee on the side of the road. It should all be very quick. But like, for some reason, they're just like making it out to be like the most crazy thing in the world that they have to do this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be funny, really, is the only thing I could say about it. And it's not particular, because obviously there's a lot more of it here than in the teaser trailer. The teaser trailer it just gave you the bullet points. It was just, you're drinking too much, shit, we need to stop. And that was it.
Yeah.
Here it's like, oh, you're going to make me stop? No, I'm like a camel, man. I ain't going to stop. And then there's just the slow turn and being like, I kind of need to go. And then like, so it builds up for a bit. And then just like the trailer, when the guy comes back to the car, all the doors are open, the driver's missing, he looks around, can't find him because inside the car, tries his phone, but his phone's in the car, and then his friend like lands on the window from above as if he was being held up in the air, and it's like, okay, so this is the start of like, so what can the passenger do to people? He can make them lift up 20 feet in the air apparently and drop them into the into the window, but later on in the movie, he has to slowly creep towards someone to get to them physically. So again, the rules here are all over the place. Make no goddamn sense.
Yeah. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the only time in the movie where it's like an actual passenger? Like, when they have the jump scare when he turns and it's in the passenger seat? Because like most of the rest of the movie, it's kind of like, in the back or...
Well, I'm okay with them just being in the back, but like, because the idea is just on board, right? There's someone on the vehicle or somewhere, right? The problem is though, is that most of the rest of the movie, it feels like he's always trying to get to the van, like he's always just behind it. He's walking towards it. Here, he just magically teleports inside the car, which suggests that he can just do that at any time. So why doesn't he just teleport inside the van? And the only explanation we kind of get later is like, well, he must be liking tormenting you two and he's playing with his foot a little bit, and that's it. That's all you've got to go on. It's like, okay, sure.
Also, I guess the only thing you really need to do to I guess get cursed by him is just to stop. Like,
yes, that's their fatal mistake, is that our main characters, so we get an introduction to them leaving their apartment and all that, and she really likes Bob Ross. That's her character trait. She gives her a little Bob Ross bobblehead thing for the car. But they see this car, and like the one positive I'll give them here is that when this car drives past them, you recognize it immediately because there's a big hole in the windshield. And you're like, oh, that's the car from the opening. So you're like, okay, that was decent visual storytelling. Fair enough. Right. And then the car crashes up ahead, and of course these two characters, being good people, right, in theory, stop the van, get out to see if he's okay. He isn't. But the police show up and all that. But yes, the rest of the movie tells us that because they stopped to help, that was what made this thing attached to them. So
but it's not even like, because at first I was thinking that, it has something to do, like, if you stop to help a car or another car that's been possessed by it or whatever. But in the opening scene, like, it doesn't seem to indicate that there's anything like that going on with that first car. It's just like they literally just stop.
Oh, you're opening a can of worms here. I mean, you could argue that it was already attached to them before the start of the scene. We don't have any idea of what they were doing before. Maybe. That's all I can really offer you. But I never once tried to retrofit any of the rules back to that previous opening, because like I just didn't have the mentality to even try it.
It just I mean, again, if it's a better movie, I'm not caring about this stuff as much, but it just feels very sloppy and like,
well, if it was a better movie, like we would maybe like see something that's a hint for later, like, oh, we see what mistake this character in the opening made, or maybe like the other, the main characters might not make this same mistake, and we'll understand why they were able to, survive in a certain situation or a bit longer or whatever. But no, I mean, there's literally no reason why this ghost thing just can't kill them at any time, seemingly. And it just makes the whole thing feel really weird. Like, everything's just a strung together set of jump scares that they want to do, and that's all it is. There's no logic behind any of it.
Not at all.
Yeah. And also, so we've got all these van drivers saying, hey, never stop if you see an accident because the ghost might get you. So I'm like, you're all part of this life where you act like this community who are all traveling and living out your vans, but you'll never stop to help each other if you see one of your fellow drivers is broken down. That seems like a really toxic thing to be spreading and to try to put out into the world.
Right. Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. Like they, from that first scene, it does seem like, oh, yeah, like these are our people. Like this is a community that looks after each other and helps each other. And then, like you said, later on when, they get the kind of whiff that like, oh, they might have this evil about them. It's like, oh, screw you, you're on your own, like, see ya. And then like the jumping ahead a bit here, but this did make me kind of mad at the main characters when like they are so like the one lady that's being nice to him and everything, and like she's like, I can't help you, you got to do this and that, and like, oh, please help us, like they keep begging her like, no, please, and when she's finally like, all right, fine, I'll help you, and then she like instantly gets killed. Like, yep. Just like a minute later, like the passenger is like, I don't really want to mess with you, I'll just like snap your neck like backwards.
Yeah, it just it's something that had a bit more logic or sense to it would have been nice. But regardless, it's attached to them now. He proposes to her as well. I think this is probably before they see the accident, or maybe it's after. I don't really remember the order, to be honest. But there's a whole sequence where they're parked in a residential area, and just as he's proposing, someone knocks on the door from Neighborhood Watch and says, "You can't camp on a residential street. Get out of here! I'll call the police." And they're like, "All right, we're moving." She does say yes, though, after the fact, even though she clearly has doubts about this whole van life thing. Because that's the thing, they go to the van meetup after the accident's happened, and she's a little bit creeped out or whatever, but they decide to go to a hotel to sort of have a nice night in a bed and whatever. This van meet the next day, they go to this, and it's like a convention, and like he immediately starts nerding out because a famous van life YouTuber is there, and he's going up to sort of like get his opinions and all that, and the guy's like, oh no, here's some advice for you, 24-hour gyms, they'll never bother you in the parking lot, you ever get chapped on, and they've got showers, oh, that's the life, man. I'm like, all right, okay, I guess.
Yeah. And don't worry, if you thought this character was going to have some type of importance or relevance to the movie, like, don't worry, it there's no such thing.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be like there again, but I thought maybe we'd see maybe like in a time of need he would pull up one of his videos that would be helpful or something.
Exactly. Yeah, like I figured there'd be some type of callback like that, or he would, mention something about the scratches and like be like, oh, that's weird, like there's an old legend or something, like, I don't know. But yeah, absolutely, like the way he's making such a big deal about this character, I thought that there would be some callback or something later, and nothing.
Yeah. But did you like when they went to the novelty shop and the guy bought a t-shirt that said "I sleep around" with a picture of a van on
it? Hilarious.
That's that van life humor for you, Timmy.
What I did think was funny was, and of course this is kind of like, leading into our research, I guess, but she finds a book about like haunted highways, which, I mean, makes sense that, you might see something like that and maybe they'll have something about the passenger in it, but that's not really the case. Instead, she picks up that book and it seems to be much less about like ghost stories and much more about like the hobo code. Like,
yes.
I'm like, wait, why is this like such like an important thing in this like book about like highway ghosts? I don't know. Yeah. It's like, I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, because I would assume the hobo code was primarily about saying, oh, like this town's dangerous because they're all racist, or because they're all whatever it is. It's more about people that are dangerous than it is about ghosts and spookies.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, maybe there's like a ton of ghost stories where the hobo code comes into play or whatever, but I don't know. Again, kind of jumping around, but another thing that I thought was really funny is again, they seem to make like such a big deal about this code, and like the lady later on is like, you got to know how to follow the signs and blah blah blah, but all they really need is like that one like code, which is basically just an arrow.
Yeah, it's an arrow. It's literally an arrow saying go this direction. It's not that much of a code to figure out.
Like it's gonna be like, oh man, like they're gonna have some big revelation, like, oh my god, I figured it out. If you take this and this, and it's like, no, you just have to look for an arrow.
I'm seeing the signs. I think that means go right. What tells you that? Well, there's an arrow pointed right.
Yeah. To be fair though, it is extremely convenient that like in this entire like city or whatever they're driving through, they do just happen to like drive past the one sign that has like the code on it. Which is very convenient. Also, again, another thing that made me laugh is when they're trying to find the lady again, because like she gave them like one little vague comment from the meetup. All they really have to go on is like, she said she was going to this city and that she works in a seafood restaurant. Oh, well, how hard that can be, because like cities usually only have like one seafood restaurant in them. Like, I mean, to be fair, it is like Arizona or something, which probably doesn't that's not like by the ocean or whatever, but still, like every city has like multiple restaurants.
Well, they end up finding her at the camp, like van campsite that's in the city instead of the actual restaurant. They never actually go to the restaurant, as best I can tell.
No, but she literally says that she called the restaurant and the person said that she was staying at that campsite.
I forgot that line. Okay, yeah.
Which again is also like, I've worked in like places, and if someone calls up and is like, hey, does this person work here? Oh, they do? Where do they live? I wouldn't be like, yeah.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. So yeah, just to go through some of the set pieces then, once stuff starts properly happening. I guess the first big one is the car park outside the gym. So they're at a 24-hour gym, and he's still working out, and he's downloading a movie on the gym's Wi-Fi, which... This is like a minor complaint, and maybe money's tight, right? Even though they seem to not be worried about money otherwise. But he's like, oh, free Wi-Fi at the gym, we'll use that to download a movie so we can watch a movie later. I was like thinking about it, I'm like, we're actually in an era now where you can get pretty decent just mobile data internet for like a flat fee every month. So it felt kind of weird that we're having to mooch off the Wi-Fi. Like, see, 10 years ago, that'd have made a lot of sense. I feel like now in 2026, I'm like, that's actually not that necessary. There's no reason why you can't have that like internet in the van, especially since later on she's literally researching on the laptop in the van. So clearly, so this is not even like a problem from a plot perspective. It was just like a little observation I had thought about because, well, the movie wasn't exciting me, so I was thinking about stupid things like this.
It also isn't really doing, the van life any favors, where it's like, yeah, if you want to watch a movie, all you got to do is park somewhere that has free Wi-Fi, download it, and you're gonna go.
Yeah, and then watch it on a phone, maybe a laptop screen if you're lucky, or if you've brought a projector, maybe you can find somewhere where you can hang a big white sheet up and watch it in the projector.
Yeah. So let's get to that soon, because I do want to discuss that scene.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. But we got a few set pieces though to talk about, and the first one is this car park thing where basically she's on edge. She's hearing noises around her. There's like a car going past her slowly that she's a little bit creeped out by. But the basic thing is here, and I don't think that visually this was such a good, well conveyed idea, because I actually had to think about it, and I had to kind of just like, from context, deduce what the creepy part was supposed to be, because I never really noticed it that much visually, which is that she's walking towards the van, which is parked a fair bit into the car park, and she'll hear a noise, a light will go out or something like that, and it'll make her turn around, or she'll hear some footsteps, and she'll turn around, she'll look for anyone following her, and she's on edge. And when she turns back around, I think the constant thing here is that every time she turns back around to look at the van again, she's back to like the same distance back from like the previous chunk of walking. So she keeps being further away from the van than she's supposed to be. But to be honest, I think the visuals here needed like something some kind of like visual signpost in front of the van to make it really clear how far away it was, because honestly it wasn't that distinct. Like, she would act freaked out and I'm like, okay, I guess the van's further away again, but to be honest, I don't think it was visually popping the way that it needed to sell that, like, you know, which, and if that's the case, it also brings up a pretty important question. What's the passenger doing here to make this happen? Can he just like, what is he doing? Is he altering space and time? Is he teleporting her back, 30, 40 feet? Like, what's happening here exactly?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Again, in concept, there's something that, could be pretty creepy about that. But like you said, it's just not executed well. And it's a shame, because like the actual setting, once she gets into the van and she's got all the cameras around the van, which this van has a lot of cameras around it, but I'll accept that, right? Like, people have at least a rear view camera in a lot of vehicles these days, but she's got all these cameras around the van, and I suppose if you're going to live in your van, maybe you deck it out with more cameras than normal for safety reasons. But she starts looking around all the cameras, and it's in this big empty car park, middle of the night, so it's just seemingly a mile of tarmac in any direction. So yeah, it's got that kind of like, I'm in the middle of a location, it's nothing but open space around me, and I'm kind of safe in the van, but like, this thing's getting closer, we're seeing this person show up in the camera feed. There's an idea here. Like, a good director could come along to this and do something fun with this section. But as it is, it's just a bunch of, like, he's there, he disappears, he's there, he disappears, his face is right up in the camera. Oh, and then he's just in the back of the van creeping up behind her. And he grabs her physically by the neck, and she gets away here because the boyfriend has like a St. Christopher medal like up in the, the mirror, and that becomes a huge plot point where it burns him. So I'm like, I guess he's demonic because religious stuff hurts him. Right. Okay. We'll go with that. Yeah, but then it's also kind of like annoying, because it's like, okay, so that seems like maybe a big weapon that they can use against him later, and then they deck they just hang all of these St. Christopher medallions like from the roof of their van, but then later on he can basically just like magically rip them out and like throw them away. Like, yeah,
he just snaps his fingers and they all just go flying out the back of the van. So I was like, oh, that actually seemed like a fun setup almost, where he's like, oh, you've built a set of traps that'll hurt him. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter. No effect whatsoever. So obviously the boyfriend comes out and like, she's freaking out, and he's like, what is it? I'll go find whoever scared you and kick his ass. And she's like, no, let's not split up. Let's just hang out here. Let's go. I don't want to stay in this car park, blah, blah. And like, he believes that she's freaked out about something, but and that's the thing, like, as much as I hate the whole, the wife character sees the stuff, the husband doesn't, and she's freaked out, and he gets frustrated by that because he doesn't know what to do, or at worst even like gets mad because he thinks she's being crazy. If you're going to do it though, then at least do it for a reason. But the weird thing about this movie is that there is a certain point, and I think it is that watching the movie in the forest scene, where the passenger just starts doing stuff with him there. Like, all of a sudden, it's just, oh, I'll just do stuff when you're both here now, when before it was only ever her. So it's like, he just, for no reason, seemingly, he's just decided, oh, I'm going to, like, go after the guy now, too, and scare him, and do all this stuff. But there was never any real, like, reason for that shift or change or anything like that. But this is also the scene where she kind of gets honest about not wanting to, do this forever, and he gets all upset and he's like, okay, I guess I'll sell the van, we'll get an apartment, and like, he sounds like really upset, like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice everything I've ever wanted for you. But she's like, hey, I was a foster kid who had to move from house to house and never had a permanent home. This life is exactly the sort of thing that I grew up hating. I would rather have a permanent place to call home. And he's like, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I had a family and a house when I was a kid. I didn't like it that much. Like, okay.
Which, it is like, the way he frames it is like, what she's saying actually does make sense. It's like, oh yeah, I had to move around and I never really had like a permanent place, and that feels like that can mess you up and whatever. But then the way he frames like his childhood is that like, well, actually, like, yeah, I did have a stable home, but like, my parents fought behind closed doors, and because of that, I never want to like live in one place again. It's like, wait, what? Like, that doesn't really check out the same way like her backstory does, you know?
Yeah, it's weird because, like, okay, let's say it was even worse than that. Let's say your home life was terrible. Even if your home life was terrible, it had nothing to do with staying in one place, right?
Right, exactly.
It's just bad parents, maybe horrible siblings, perhaps. Who knows? But it's got nothing to do with living in a house.
Yeah, it's because our house wasn't moving like that. That's why. And also, it's so funny because it's like, yeah, you don't really have to like choose one thing or the other. Like, you can keep the van and then still live in a place, and then like, yeah, every summer do like a road trip or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that seems like a very normal, reasonable, like, you know, it's not even, you don't even have to do it like once a year. You could do it like, you know, every like couple of months or whatever. There's plenty of people that do like, you know, lots of camping trips and stuff throughout the year. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like, no, either we live in this van for the rest of our lives, or, you know, I sell it and never leave the house again, you know?
Yeah, also, it kind of feels like there's also some middle ground here of like, well, I assume part of this is you don't want to be in the middle of a city. Well, just don't live in a city. Go somewhere a bit more quiet and rural if you want like some countryside around you. You know, there's places all over. You can have that. You don't have to go back to an apartment in Brooklyn just because that's where you were living before. Like, pick somewhere else, anywhere else.
Yeah. Especially like, maybe if we knew anything about like what these characters, again, besides Tyler wanting to live in a van, like if we had any idea of like what they want to do with their lives, like maybe find a place that would be good for your...
We do know that she doesn't want to live in a van as well. Let's not rule out that.
Okay, fair. But at some point, you know, I mean, hey, I don't like working, but at some point you are going to have to get a job. So maybe, yeah, if you find a place that might be accommodating for, you know, how you want to work and live, like that seems a pretty reasonable thing to think of and do. But I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, the whole thing here where like the ghost is like sort of like walking through the sheet that the movie's been projected on, and you know, it's okay for what it is, I guess. But
so I would say the most interesting the movie ever really came for me is so the initial creepy stuff happens, and then they're kind of freaked out, and then you know, he's like searching for, you know, what's causing it,
and the sheet gets ripped down and she starts using the projector as like an extra flashlight, basically.
And then that kind of creates like an actually pretty cool, interesting visual where it's like a flashlight, but you're also seeing like the faces of the movie people like being projected onto
Actors,
the forest. Yes. Right.
That's what we call them, Tim, in the business.
Yeah. Movie people. That's a much better term. I'll be honest. I don't even really remember how this scene ended because I don't think it was very satisfying. But I remember.
Oh no!
This is at least a cool setup, but I don't even think anything really happens with it, right?
Yeah, there was a cool visual to like seeing like Cary Grant's face, I think it was, like appearing on the side of a tree in the dark and so on.
Yeah.
And like that was kind of neat. But then it kind of like they run back to the van and like, let's get out of here. And he's like, oh, I don't have the keys. They're outside. And I'm like, you took your keys out of your pocket outside and just set them down somewhere? That's really weird. But so it's all to just get him to go back outside. And for some reason, the ghost has dangled them on a tree.
Yeah.
So like we get a whole scene where he's going up to get the keys off of a tree like it's a trap. But then like she also just comes out the van and like yells, come now. And it also feels like he teleports. It feels like he walked quite a distance to get the keys, but then when he runs back to the van, it's like 10 feet or something like that. But yeah, they get in the van and they drive off and like, you know, skedaddle basically.
Yeah.
And they get to like a diner they can park at, and they just stay there until daylight, because at this point they're both taking it seriously, and she's like, oh, she told me not to drive at night, so we have to wait until sunrise and then we'll try and go find her. And it's like, okay, sure enough, right? That's fine. You're using the one rule you have, the idea that you're safe during the daytime, as if he's a vampire. Okay, we can work with that a little bit. It's almost like we should have like established that earlier so that we could do more interesting things, because the very next time they go driving, like, you know, to get to this other, you know, city or state to find this woman that knows some stuff about this, it's like, oh, we're running out of time and like sun's going to go down, we have to get there. Also, we get a flat tire, and I'm like, do you know what? The full flat tire, meaning we're going to be stuck on the road when night falls, and we're trying to change the tire as the sun's going down. That sounds like a good idea for like what you've set up, but it's like I don't know. By the time we get to that, it's like we're already like so down in the movie. The rules are so wishy-washy anyway. Like we've not spent time with them successfully using the rules that then fate like intervenes and like puts a block on them and says, oh no, even though you did the right things, this is going to cause you to be trapped in this quiet road at night, and you're going to have to like, face off the ghost. And this is where it just goes off the rails, where the ghost starts pretending to be him at one point to trick her, and he can shapeshift and convince them that he's a person and all sorts.
Yeah, and just to add to that, because I think you're leaving one detail out, which is even more bullshit, because
go on.
Even before they get the flat tire, like they are driving during the day, and then like they kind of nod off and they wake up and it's like almost sunset. So it's basically like
I forgot about that.
Like, yeah. So it's like not even like the fact that it's like, okay, you establish this one rule, but then I guess the passenger can just make you like, lose time or whatever.
Well, it's so weird because they're still technically driving when they both have this nod off moment, but they both just sort of snap their eyes open and it's nighttime, and it's like, so what? Like, did he put them in a pocket dimension where they were just driving still for like 3 hours, and then they woke back up and they're back in reality? Yeah, this movie's bullshit. This movie's such bullshit. Because at least if it was following rules where it's like, oh, we've got X number of hours till sundown and we can just make it in time. Oh no, our fuel's running low, or oh no, like a flat tire. Like it's like, oh, there's a countdown timer. There's like we have to get this by this point. There's tension there.
Well, it's funny because, the flat tire could have been enough of a way to, circumvent the, sundown rule.
Yes.
But, like, you don't have to throw this time manipulation thing onto it. Again, it's just like...
It's just cheating. It's cheating. Yeah. That's all it is.
And then, like you said, there's all this, like, stuff that's happening that, he's changing the tire, and then, like, the bolts, mysteriously, like, roll under the car, so he has to go there, and then there's the tension of, like, is the car gonna fall on him?
Yeah, well, this is the part that really annoyed me, is because when he's under the car trying to get to the bolts that have rolled away, you see the jack, like, the screw coming loose, and I'm like, oh, so he can just telepathically unscrew things, like, so...
Yeah.
So this is the sort of thing where I expect to see this in Final Destination, and that's fine because that's Final Destination's whole thing, is that these miraculous little things just keep happening, and that's the fun of it. Here it's like, oh, so he can just do anything, and then he grabs Maddie and drags her into the night down the road, and like Tyler gets in the van once he gets it fixed, and he goes chasing after her. But we do a whole thing with her where she's not dead for some reason. He's not killed her. He's just taken her to like a car accident site and like pretends to be Tyler for a minute and scares the crap out of her. And then real Tyler shows up, and that's it. I think.
Pretty much. Was this a car accident that they had like driven by earlier?
I think so. Yeah, I think they drive past the car accident on the road, and this is meant to be like is he meant to be like evil that's created from all the people who die on the road, like all over the country? He's like a manifestation of that or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like I wasn't sure if if he had anything to do with that previous accident, or if it's just like, I thought it'd be creepy if I brought you to another accident or whatever. Or I mean, is that the accident even real or whatever? Because I would assume if it's the same accident from before, that they would have like cleaned it up and towed the car by then.
When they drove past it earlier, there was paramedics there, like picking up bodies and stuff. So yeah, like we already knew they were cleaning it up. So I mean, at this point, who cares? Really?
Yeah. And then again, this is like another kind of bullshit thing where when the passenger drags her away, I assume that he's taken her to some other who knows what location. And then, they do have the fake out where the passenger pretends to be Tyler at first, but after he pretends to be Tyler, and then he reveals he's the passenger, and then he basically just like frees her and have her like stand in the middle of the road to get run over. But then Tyler does show up, which again, like, how the hell did he know like where she was gonna be? Like, he just starts driving after her, but it's not like the passenger really give any. I mean, I guess you're kind of on a straight road. There's not many places you can go. But
I don't think he knows where she's going to be. He's just driving in that direction, and the passenger just sort of sets her up so that he's going to hit her with the van, and he just skids and swerves and stops at the last second to not hit her, and that's it. I was like, okay, off to find the lady who knows things now, I guess. Which they do, and she doesn't want to talk to them, and everyone freaks out and leaves, and she eventually agrees to try and take them to this location that might be of help. What's that location, you might ask? There's a secret church of St. Christopher in a desert. And luckily it's in this state, I guess, because they get to it relatively quickly. So, but you have to follow the hobo code to get there. And
this is all very convenient because, again, I'm not sure what the timeline of the movie is, but the original incident with the passenger feels like it was closer to the start of their journey, which again, was coming out of New York, and then
no, it was after the time jump. There was the 6-week time jump before they have their interaction with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But still, it seems like they've done enough driving that I don't know. Again, we know nothing about the passenger. I don't know.
It's been a few days at least with them being haunted, if you will.
But can he literally go anywhere in the country? Is he kind of confined to one state, or is he literally a passenger? He just wherever you drive is where he can go? I don't know.
I mean, these are good questions, Tim. I don't have answers for you. The movie does not even attempt to give you one.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, it's very convenient because they're close to this church. But I mean, if presumably he can kind of attach anywhere, if they were in I don't know, Minnesota or something, unless there's multiple St. Christopher churches.
Minnesota. Sorry, it's going to take 3 days to drive to this church. They'll probably kill you before you get there. Tough luck.
Yeah. And the funny thing too is, I'm assuming the passenger isn't gone for good. But I mean, if it does live on, and
this movie bombed. He's gone for good, Tim.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're getting any sequels, but in the world of the movie, though, if this church is what defeats him, it's pretty messed up that they basically destroy it. I feel like they could have found a way to kill the passenger at the church without also demolishing the church so that no one can ever use that against him again.
Sure, but let's skip ahead a little bit because we have
right, yeah.
The trip there, she sees the hobo sign, the arrow, they drive through the desert. The passenger makes them see a bunch of corpses in the desert to try and scare them from going to the church, I guess, so it's working, or you know that he's scared about it, I suppose. You know that this is actually a threat to him.
Yeah, I will say, I think this is kind of a cool visual. I don't like the idea, again, I mean, we've already seen it before in the movie now, but I don't like the idea that the passenger can just do whatever he wants and makes you see what he wants. So
yes,
in that, I don't like that idea behind it, but just in itself as a visual, I think that was kind of a neat idea. And then having to drive through it, even though it's not real, it's kind of disturbing having to drive over those dead bodies. If it was a better movie, this maybe could have been a bit of a cooler scene or whatever. But I guess I'm giving it the lightest of praise for maybe something a bit more interesting.
When they first showed it, I was thinking, oh, is this all the people he's killed over the years? They all kind of all mount up here around this church. But I'm but why would they mount here? This is the place that hurts him. Why would he be tied to this place? That wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, they drive through. The passenger gets in the back of the van at one point, and they're kind of fighting them off. Ultimately, they defeat him by. I think she drives intentionally crashes into the church so that he goes flying out the window like he is literal passenger without a seatbelt.
Yeah,
and he gets there's the statue or whatever it is has a big sword or a staff or something that falls down. She references what's his face painter
Bob Ross.
Because there's this happy accidents. That was the catchphrase from early in the movie, is that there's no mistakes, only happy accidents. And she takes that as a sign, and she drives the van with the passenger sort of on the front of it into the spike, and then he has a lot of CG crap happening to him, and he sort of melts away or whatever.
Yeah, and at this point, Tyler was thrown from the
the
back of the van too, so it's pretty much just up to her.
And this crash sets the place on fire, so it all just burns to the ground as the movie ends.
Which again, I feel like we're supposed to like these characters, but I'm like, okay, so the one person that tried to help you basically got killed because you didn't want to have to find the place on your own, and then the one place that helped you destroyed. So I'm kind of like, screw these people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they set fire to it intentionally, from what I remember.
No, but
yeah. They basically just sit watching it burn. There's police and stuff coming, which happens because she had like a GPS thing that has like a 911 button on it, like a sort of SOS, and he hit that button, which was meant to be a callback because it was meant to be something he thought, oh, we won't need that. We're going to be van people. We don't need a tie to the authorities. And then not that it ends up helping that much, aside from I guess getting them to safety after this, but the movie basically ends with him saying, yeah, let's move in somewhere permanent. The van life, I think, ran its course. And I'm like, so that was the whole arc of the movie, is he really wanted to live his life in a van, and then all of this made him go, nah, maybe not.
Well, I was gonna say it was bad, but now that I think about it, there was a full character arc for this character, so maybe it's not too bad.
Oh yeah, a full character arc. That's what I'd call that. And the credits start rolling, and of course it starts playing that Passenger song. It was Iggy Pop, I think. Does it? Yeah. Yeah,
but this was I'm not sure who's saying it. This was definitely a cover.
A cover, yeah, it was a cover. But that's what the original one, or at least the one that I've heard before was anyway.
Which is a good song. I do like it, but I don't like now having to associate it with this movie.
It's just one of those things where they wrote this movie and they're like, oh hey, there's a famous song called Passenger. We should we should get the rights to that bad boy. Spend half our budget on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh god, it's just painfully generic, crappy jump scares, bland characters. And then the worst offense for me really is someone who always has this problem with crap supernatural movies. Is just no rules. The supernatural thing can do anything it wants, so there's no sense of oh, we can try and do this to fight it, and we understand if we've broken a rule that we're in danger, or we understand that we're going to struggle to stick to this rule because the car breaks down or something, and we can't get to the location in time before sundown. Those are fun things that you could use to build tension around, but instead the ghost just does whatever it wants. It makes you see what you want. It seems to be able to pause time or make time skip, or make you teleport back a certain distance, and all of it just means, oh, it's just a bunch of bullshit. You can do whatever you want, and it's not even it's that fun either. So,
right. I mean, which also is kind of weird too, because it seems like, I mean, maybe the closer it gets to the church, the weaker it gets, but it seems like the church is kind of far away. That's okay, well, why are you not doing some of your moves where you make them black out, or they go back further than whatever they were before, instead of letting them get there. It raises too many questions, but in the end you don't really care, because this is a pretty bad, forgettable movie that I will never watch again in my life.
Nope. Not even a chance. So hopefully Backrooms washes the bad taste of this out next week. That's my hope anyway. Absolute goddamn sucks. All right, Tim, what are you rating Passenger out of 10?
Going in, I wasn't really expecting much, but you never know. Sometimes you might get something that's so dumb or crazy that it could be kind of fun. And again, I don't know. I feel like there's some tweaks or some things you could do here or there to maybe make this more of a fun bad movie, but as it stands, there really is very little positive to be had in here. Even the stuff that's kind of stupid is not really in an enjoyable way. I found it just on every level, it looked bad. I didn't find the characters interesting. All the horror elements were generic and bullshit and kind of frustrating in a way where, it offers very little explanation or satisfaction to anything that's going on. There really wasn't any story elements or anything that resonated with me. Again, as I said, there's maybe one or two instances instances of like visual stuff or setup stuff that I'm like, oh, maybe this will be kind of interesting, but then ultimately it doesn't really go anywhere. So yeah, I'd say this is a pretty bad movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I guess I'm gonna give it like a 2. I don't know. I don't think there's really much about it. I'm not going much below that because I think at the end of the day, it's more forgettable than it is anger inducing.
It's painfully generic, yeah. It's rather than if anything, the movie started at like a 5 and like I wasn't that mad, and then it did more and more tropes, and it did the research scene, it did the crappy jump scare, and it kind of kept dwindling down a bit as it went on.
Yeah, but like I'm not gonna go like lower than a 2 just because that stuff is usually for things that like, oh, I'm mad. There's something specific here that's like making me mad at its existence or whatever.
I think ultimately there's worse, right? It's not the worst movie ever made. Mm-hmm. It's just, but it's, yeah. So, all right, you went with a 3, or sorry, 2. 2. Am I going with a 3? Maybe I'm going with a 3. I don't think it's because I liked it any more than you. I think I'm trying to be diplomatic in my head about what I think is worse, and like,
sure,
so. I can't bring that one up because the episode's not out yet. Let me go back a bit. The previous Resident Evil movie we did, Resident Evil Afterlife, I gave that a 2. And I'm like, if I'm comparing that to this in my head, like, is this like a better effort than that one is? I think probably a little bit, just because it's... I don't know. Like it's just not people standing still and trying to look cool. It's less obnoxious, I guess, but it's also devoid of any like sort of like good stuff. So, 2.5 maybe. I got 2.5.
Split the diff.
Oh yeah, 2.5. There you go. I found a way. Way finds a way. As
this is the way.
Ian Malcolm. Don't say your Star Wars shit in my show, Tim. Not having it. Not having it. If it's not Star Wars, it's Leprechaun. If it's not Leprechaun, it's the boy. If it's not the boy, it's the Hellboy.
I would say if they would have put Grogu in this, it would have gone up a whole like 4 or 5 points for me.
Only if he was the passenger.
Oh yeah, I mean that goes without saying.
Well, that would at least make sense how he's doing stuff telekinetically. He's got the Jedi, the powers, and he's.
Of course, yeah. Oh, he's strong in the Force. You bet.
So is the passenger, apparently. Anyway, I guess that's the show. I mean, I suppose I'll tell you what's coming next week. It's actually quite easy to remember because it's another new release. Backrooms is out this coming weekend at the time of recording, so that'll be next week's episode. And it looks good. It's got a unique trailer. It's got a unique premise. I'm excited for it. And if it shapes up to even close to what Obsession or Hokum were quality-wise, then we've had a very good month, aside from the one we just talked about. But hey, 2026 off to a reasonable start. I know that's weird to say that in May, but that just kind of feels like, because we were doing 2025 movies for the first few months, and now we got all this barrage of new movies coming out, it feels like this is the year's really starting here. This is where we're really getting a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, Backrooms next week. I look forward to it because we are. Yay. All right, Patreon. You can support the show and support the episodes, keep them coming, and all the other shows we do as well on MailFuzz Movies. You can do that over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Most weeks we do an even more streamed segment where we have a little bonus discussion. This week we just had a debate about what the best road trip horror movie was. So if that sounds like a fun little extra bit, you can go check out that. They range in length from anything from 15 minutes to like 40 minutes, depending on the topic. So, whole back catalogue of those built up over time. And then also we do bonus episodes about every month or so. We got Doom Asylum coming up soon, but we've got a big back catalogue of those now as well. So if you want some extras, but mainly you want to support the show and feel warm and mailedy fuzzy on the inside, go over and support us on Patreon or via YouTube membership for an alternative if you want to just get it there as well instead. I know some people would rather just watch the stuff on YouTube, so it's just easier to have the YouTube membership. But yeah, either way, thank you very much for everyone who does support us. It means a lot. And that is that. So I guess that's the show. I guess we finished talking about Passenger. It's over. Yay. This has been Screams After Midnight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Keep watching scary movies. Goodbye.